Yeah, sure. Look, I mean, if the Lord Almighty came out and said, Joe, get out of the race, I get out of the race, the Lord Almighty's not coming down.
President Joe Biden, you heard him there, also telling House Democrats in a letter yesterday that he is staying in the presidential race and is committed to beating former President Donald Trump in November. This is House Democrats are said to be discussing the future of Biden's re-election campaign in the wake of his performance at the CNN presidential debate. This morning, Baltimore resident and Democratic candidate for president Jason Palmer joining us live to weigh in. Good morning. Thanks for being with us this morning.
Thanks for having us, Megan.
What are your thoughts? We heard that the president saying there he's staying in the race. He's written a letter. Should President Biden stay in this race?
No, President Biden should do the right thing and withdraw from the race. And he should do so in a very particular way. He actually should say, I've served the country for 4 years. I've been a transitional figure, and now I'm opening it up. And if there are any candidates that want to get in, we have a convention that's coming up. It can be an open convention. There could be a few debates beforehand. I will lend my full support to whoever is selected. But he needs to be like George Washington and step aside.
Would he step aside for his vice presidential candidate? We've seen recent polls, a Democratic poll recently that showed Kamala Harris polling 1 percentage point ahead of Donald Trump in, a presumptive race if that were to happen. Is she the nod? Is that who should Biden look to Kamala?
If he selects Kamala, I would support her fully. The betting markets even 4 days ago were saying that Kamala was going to be the choice. But I do think we're all getting a little bit ahead of ourselves here because President Biden is the only person who can make this decision. He actually has amassed 4,000 delegates. He is the presumptive nominee. We didn't want to get his ire up, but his ire is up right now. And he needs a little time to digest this information, I think. We need to give the man his time, just like when you have an elderly grandparent or parent who, isn't really able to drive anymore. You don't just take away the keys and tell them you're not good enough anymore.
It's an interesting comparison, though.
But that's kind of the situation here. He has been running the country. He has been doing a good job on a number of things. That bipartisan bill to get aid for Israel and for Ukraine passed, that was a very complicated 6-month maneuver. But it's clear he doesn't have the capacity to win the election or be president for the next 4 years. We need to give him time to adapt.
We talked about Kamala Harris here as a possible someone who could be running. She is not on the ticket. She has not been running. Yeah. You are in the race for this. Is this something that is opening your eyes a little bit more? You want American Samoa beating Biden. What does all of this news mean to you and the other candidates that have been in this race?
Yeah, I have seen that Marianne Williamson has gotten back in. Officially, my campaign is suspended, and I have endorsed President Biden. But last week, I did pen an open letter to President Biden asking him to be like George Washington and step aside. And I name-checked 6 or 7 people who I think would make excellent candidates.
And who are they?
Those are Gretchen Whitmer, our own governor, Wes Moore, Gavin Newsom, Josh Shapiro, the list goes on. There are multiple governors that would be good. Kamala is on that list as well. And if there is a mini primary, which I'm recommending, and I saw multiple other people have kind of picked up this pass the torch phrasing that I used last week, which is not even my invention. That's been around for 50 years. I might put my hat back in the ring, but I haven't decided yet because President Biden has to decide first, and we got to give him his time.
Very interesting. Presidential candidate Jason Palmer, local. We appreciate you being here with us this morning.
Thanks. Appreciate it.